Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad. The number is matric number 18008 Group of KSC. Okay, today I want to present on the subject Seminar Broadcasting SCP 4093. Okay, for the research is survey on the factors, problems, and approaches influencing students' behavior with academic performance. Next, my introduction is this chapter discusses about the research background, problem statement, research objectives, research questions, the significance of study, and scope of study. This chapter explains the main purpose of this writing. Okay, for the background of research, which is behaviorism, also known as behavioral psychology, is a theory of learning based on the idea that all behaviors require to conditioning. Behavior can be systematically studied and observed regardless of internal mental state. From this perspective, only behaviors that need to be considered, cognition, emotion, and mood are too subjective. The strict belief that any person is potentially trained to perform any task regardless of their genetic background, personality, and internal thinking within the limits of their physical ability, according to GANS 2018. Next, behaviorism refers to a psychological approach which emphasizes scientific and objective method of investigation. The approach is only concerned with observable stimulus responses learned through interaction with the environment, according to McLeod 2017. Okay, an obvious advantage of behaviorism is its ability to define behavior clearly and to measure changes in behavior. Behaviorism therefore looks for simple explanation of human behavior from a very scientific standpoint. For the literature review, the first point is individual behavior, which is the point is through a variety of methods, a large number of studies have investigated the factor that determine academic performance. According to Benden, 2007, analyzed a broad range of individual characteristics concerning personal history, behavior, and perception. Similarly, the student life study use smartphones to collect data on study activity, social behavior, personality, and mental health. One is behavioral psychology. Behavioral psychology is the study of the connection between our mind and our behavior. Sometimes you will hear behavioral psychology referred to as behaviorism. The researchers and scientists who study behavioral psychology are trying to understand why we behave to the way we do, and they are concerned with discovering patterns in our action and behaviors. We can use behavioral psychology to help us predict how humans will behave. We can build best individual, create better products and companies, and develop better living spaces as communities, according to Fanwa 2018. For the third point is psychological factors that influence human behavior. According to Crawford and Walker 2010, the life course is defined in literature as the progression and path an individual takes from conception to death. The study of the life courses the human development is extremely complex and could be described as interdisciplinary as it encompasses any field of study. When examining the life course of individual, it is necessary to consider all of the various factors that affect human behavior. This may include which is psychological, biological, social, behavioral, cognitive, or cultural factors. Okay, for my research objective is the main objective of this research were to study the behavioral changes on academic performance among students. Universities and international research is followed. First, to study the factors that influencing students' behavior with academic performance. Second, to identify the problem that influencing students' behavior with academic performances. Third, to find out the approaches for improving students' academic performance. Okay, for the research methodology, research design provides the structure of the research and link all of the elements of the research together. Group 2003 defined a research design as a blueprint for conducting a study with maximum control over factors that may interfere with the validity of the findings. In qualitative research, the aim is to determine the relationship between the thing, an independent variable, and another dependent or outcome variable in the population. Quantitative research designs is the descriptive. Subject usually measures once, or experimental, which is subjects measure before and after a treatment. A descriptive study establishes only association between variables. An experiment establishes causality. Quantitative advice of people about particular issue. Decisions tend to express their relative agreement with statement and answer on a 5-point scale. 1 is agree, 2 is disagree, 4 is agree, and 5 is strongly agree. Okay, for the data collection, in this study, it is using the form of data collection methods, which use survey methods to distributing questionnaires to respondents. The questions were screened based on the research study about the behavioral change of using students on the academic performance. Questionnaire is a set of print or written questions with a choice of answer device for the purpose of a survey or statistical study. Survey is a technique to collect data for individual or society. Questionnaire is the one to ask the respondent about my subject research. This type, it can be easy to analyze more than interview. Just circulate the paper of questionnaire to our sample respondent, and the respondent just need to answer the questionnaire that we give to them. It just take around 10 to 15 minutes only for each person to answer the question. Questions are about respondent opinion about the behavioral changes of Muslim students on academic performance in month. These questions are given to respondents among years 3 and 4 from Bachelor of Da'wah, Bachelor of Aqidah, Bachelor of Counseling, and Bachelor of Communications. Okay, for the result, we can see the sector has covered on the finding of the survey executed among students at the Faculty of Leadership and Management, USIM. The result and discussion will focus on the 3 main variables: the factors, problems, and the approaches of a student's behavior with academic performance. Students who do not care and ignore their achievement will face problems in their career by soon. Each student has their own unique way to improve the academic performances. The different approaches for influence student in applying, because not all of students have same potential. They have their own advantage and disadvantages. Therefore, the conclusion, this research was only focused on the factors, problem, and approaches influencing student behavior with academic performances. Finding of the research show that student behavior were affected by many of factors, even have external and internal factors of classroom. Is it also having psychological factors? The psychological factors include personality, perception, attitudes, values, and learning of an individual that influence behavior. This research studies show that students' performance depends on many factors, which influences students have their own factor that affect student performance. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.